So we got some pretty cool new gameplay for Assassin's Creed Shadows, such as the first look at the hideout customization, as well as vantage points. There were also new gameplay snippets, challenge minigames, and a lot more. As you may know, a month or two ago Ubisoft released their first AC Shadows developer episode, where they talk about Nawe and Yasuke's playstyles. Check out my video on that if you have not. And of course, since Shadows has now been delayed, they did not officially release episode 2, although you can find it on YouTube somewhere. So we have a lot to break down and talk about in this video. Oh, and by the way, I got a feeling Ubisoft could take down this video because episode 2 is not officially out. But then again, Joe Raptor has already made a video on this, so make of that what you will. Now do consider hitting that subscribe button to stay up to date on everything Assassin's Creed. And with that said, let's get right into it. So this episode's name is titled Creating a Dynamic World, and by the name, I'm sure you can assume that it's focused on the open world side of Shadows. And to be fair, there are things in this episode that are pretty interesting. First of all, can we just take a moment and admire what this man has on his back? People might miss this, but this is a straw rain cape, or in Japanese, a mino, and it's often used in feudal Japan to protect against the rain. So does this mean we'll be able to wear capes? Who knows at this point? We then get this very brief shot of Yasuke walking through a natural environment with waterfalls and greenery, and I'm pretty sure this is the bamboo strikes, which, you guessed it, is a feature we've seen in Ghost of Tsushima, where Jin Sakai can slice down bamboo to increase the amount of resolve. I assume in Shadows this will be a similar approach, but maybe we'll get skill points instead, or something else that we don't know yet. We also get this pretty nice shot of Nawe standing on a rooftop overlooking the sunset, and I keep saying it in every Assassin's Creed Shadows video I make, but there's the small boats or the sailboats again. Although Ubisoft has not confirmed we'll be able to use them, I'll place my bets that we will be able to. Now, although this image right here is concept art and not an actual in-game screenshot, it still provides a solid sense of scale to help you determine the size of the world, or rather this part of the region. We can see a pretty expansive, picturesque view of a feudal Japan village or a town just tucked away in a lush valley with, you guessed it, more sailboats. We then get some more random shots of them showing off how detailed parts of the world is. But here's the interesting part, and they're showing us the seasonal changes within this small village or town. And you can see the changes from summer to autumn to winter and so on, as well as different weather conditions such as lightning, rain, snow and fog. I find this stuff to be pretty unique and innovative because the last time we truly saw seasonal changes that affected the gameplay was Assassin's Creed 3 way back in 2012, 12 years ago, but it was so limited in that game to the point where it only really affected the frontier. Also, these seasonal changes are not cosmetic or appearance only, as Ubisoft did in fact confirm they affect gameplay. They affect how you move around, as well as guard patterns, how you approach stealth in different conditions, and a lot more. In fact, you can see here during summer that these little bodies of water can be seen quite clearly, but let's say in winter, we can see here completely snowed and iced over. So I do look forward to seeing how this will affect the way I play. And speaking of snow and iced over, we can see right here Nawe swimming through a body of water. But as I said, when the water freezes over, it will affect how you move, as seen by Nawe slipping all over the place here. Another interesting thing shown in this episode is the snow affecting the actual protagonist, where we can see here it slows down Nawe when moving. I do wonder how common this will be, because I could see this becoming slightly annoying at times, especially if you're exploring these snowy areas when suddenly you're walking at speed slower than a snail. Maybe there's certain gear that affects moving around in harsher conditions, which, thinking of it now, sounds like Red Dead Redemption 2, doesn't it? Now, moving on from weather and seasonal changes, let's go over the mocap and the facial animations in this, because if you're like me, you probably have concerns on whether the mocap will be good or even present in this game. And to be honest, I am becoming less concerned because from the footage shown in this episode, it does look pretty promising, especially the detail with the hair and now its facial expressions in this scene. I would say if it's ass, but I genuinely see this as pretty good. Now, I do believe this specific shot is part of the Tensho Eagle War, which we'll get to see near the start of the game, I assume. This is where, Oda Nobunaga attacks Iga, which is now his homeland. And before you say, wow, Hidden One, spoilers! It's shown in the cinematic trailer, so don't get onto me. We then get to see just how dynamic the props are in this game, as Yasuke does his best brute impression and breaks everything inside just to show us. It is pretty impressive seeing all the separate objects and entities all having their own hitboxes and animations to them. It is definitely something that could only really be done on next gen, so this kind of stuff is also a big reason why Shadows is not releasing on consoles like the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One or whatever that old ass console is called. We also do see this for Nawe as well, and since I have not seen anybody say this right here looks like FPS hell. Just imagine slicing through all of this bamboo. I can only see my FPS dropping massively, but maybe it's optimized quite well, because to be fair, Assassin's Creed games on PC do run pretty good, so that's one thing I can hand to Ubisoft. Now here's where the episode gets even more interesting, or at least that's what I think, and we get the first exclusive look at vantage points. So if you don't know, Assassin's Creed Shadows is removing traditional sync points and map markers. Instead, it's being replaced with this vantage point scouting. Here we can see Naue climbing the top of the Tenergy temple to get a better look at the surroundings. And to be honest, I'm looking forward to this quite a lot, because hot take, I feel like the sync points could use some change, and this is exactly that. We see a bunch of question marks and undiscovered locations for us to explore. This is a lot better as it removes the clutter and overwhelming numbers of things on your screen. This is what it looked like in Valhalla, and I don't know about you, but I did not really like seeing how many different things there were on my screen. Also, in this shot, we can see a new icon at the bottom left. I'm not really sure what this could be, but I do believe we haven't seen this yet, so this is new. We get another glimpse of the map, but once again, when it comes to the map, there is not much revealed, as it does seem like they're keeping the in-game map quite secretive. We see the player press square to scout and locate the assassination target, which personally, this feels a bit cheap. I mean, all they did was press a button, and the target to assassinate is right there shown. It doesn't really seem like you have to work hard to know where the target is. Also, it's very briefly shown, but this mission is a rumor, so it's not part of the main story. That is pretty interesting to know. Maybe we can discover or encounter certain things in the world that lead to other things, which then lead on to rumors starting a whole new objective. Also, this mission is named the 7 Samurai. This could be a reach, but maybe I can see this being one of those hunt down legendary warrior types of missions, and this person, Takahashi Taro, is one of them. But staying on the topic of the in-game map, I want to point out that it's in 3D, which is expected at this point, but I really hope it's similar to Mirage's map UI, where zooming in causes the camera to shift slightly downward, giving us a full 3D rendered view of the environment. This isn't Assassin's Creed, but Far Cry 5, which is another Ubisoft game, handled the map UI very well. In fact, I think the map UI of Far Cry 5 is the best in any Ubisoft game, hands down. I just hope there are some similarities with the Shadows map. We also get the standard objectives, world, inventory, mastery, which is pretty vague. Maybe this is where we'll see skill tree related stuff like abilities or progression towards challenges. Who knows? And also the codex, which thank God is returning, because I don't know about you, but when I collect stuff in a game such as a book or a letter or whatever it is, I need to read about it. Also, here's my question to you guys. Do you think we're going to see the Discovery Tour being brought back for Shadows? I know we had it in Origins and Odyssey, however I can see Shadows being a great addition for it, especially since it's a pretty interesting time period. Here we see Naue riding a horse, which by the way, when this world trailer was released, the talking point in that entire video was the horse Yasuke was riding was moonwalking, and whilst I agree that it did, it doesn't really take a genius to know that the footage shown there was work in progress, and it looks pre-alpha if anything. So to those that criticize the horse, which is a bit strange, here's Naue riding a very smoothly looking horse, and yeah, I hope that pleases those harsh critics I guess. We get more shots of scenery, but these shots are the ones that look the best. You know, it kind of baffles me that people genuinely think this game looks bad. I mean, what kind of crack are the people that say this smoking? Because there is no way in hell that this looks bad. And I've played so many games that I've lost count. I know what bad looks like, and this is definitely not that. Now this is another pretty interesting part of the episode, and it shows Naue and Fujibayashi Nagato, and he's teaching her the Kuji-in, which refers to a set of 9 symbolic hand gestures. These hand gestures are believed to represent specific spiritual or mystical powers, offering protection, focus, and the channeling of energy. Each of the 9 gestures is associated with a specific mantra, together creating a spiritual shield or empowering the practitioner in combat or meditation. Now, I can't assume this hand gesture minigame is a way to unlock skills as well as gain XP, because it does seem pretty important. The developers here also mentioned that this is a meditation spot as well. The next shot we get is even more gameplay related activities, and this one seems to be Yasuke on a horse participating in an archery challenge. Now the Japanese term for this is yabusame, and this involves shooting arrows at stationary targets while riding a galloping horse, a skill that was historically practiced by samurai as a way to demonstrate their martial prowess and focus. The developers, when talking about this part, mentioned doing this is to unlock skills or gain XP. Of course, since there are different objectives to hit, whether it's the 4 targets, or if you're like me, you'd want to go for the best possible outcome and hit all the targets, so this will be pretty fun to do. I do wonder though when it will start to, get a bit repetitive, but only time will tell. Now here's the part of the episode that got me hyped the most, and it's near the end of the episode. It focuses on the hideout, which we knew was a feature in this game, but now we get a first look at the hideout system. It's said that we'll receive an open piece of land for us to build a hideout on, and based on the footage, it seems pretty customizable. I mean, we're able to place buildings wherever we want, rotate them, and even place pathways wherever we want. And that's just a few seconds they're showing us. I wonder how much more there is to this system that they've not shown us. Also, when I see this, my mind instantly jumps to Yakuza Infinite Wealth, which by the way is my personal game of the year. In that game, there's a system called Dondoko Island, where you can build your own settlement, place buildings, pathways, and just have a sense of life on the island. For Assassin's Creed Shadows, the developers even mentioned creating a sense of life. In fact, we can see when Yasuke walks around, there's a thriving settlement. Who knows, maybe I'll run a competition in the future where you can show off your best settlements for a prize. I guess we'll need to see more. And that right there is the end of the episode, and wow, it was packed with some pretty interesting pieces of information and gameplay shots. Sure, we did not see more, raw gameplay stuff, but that's not the focus on these episodes. These are more focused on the developer thoughts and what the developers intend to do with this game. What do you think about everything shown in this episode? Are you more hyped, less hyped, or do you just hate Ubisoft and for some strange reason are still watching this video? Now, apart from the new episode, there was also some new information regarding Shadows that I have not yet covered on this channel, and this information comes from the ever so brilliant Joe Raptor, who I'm sure you all know. So let's talk about these new details and information. First of all, it's confirmed that the enemies in Assassin's Creed Shadows are affected by environmental factors such as heat. If they stand in the sun for too long, they can suffer from heat stroke, which I find quite interesting. It has that, sense of realism, which I guess we'll see how it plays out. The game also offers a 60 FPS mode on all platforms, giving you smoother gameplay. However, it looks to be the best on the PlayStation 5 Pro, where the improved hardware allows for higher display quality. So if you're getting a PlayStation 5 Pro for whatever reason, then there's that advantage for you, I guess. Of course, I'll be playing on PC, so it doesn't really make a difference for me. When it comes to stealth, it's confirmed that Yasuke makes noises while sneaking around and assassinating enemies. This can alert nearby foes, making stealth a bit trickier. However, it's also revealed that Yasuke, using a bow for ranged kills, is completely silent. Interestingly, dialogue varies depending on the character you choose during missions. While the overall meaning of the conversation stays the same, the wording differs slightly, adding a bit of personalized flair to each encounter. Footsteps become less noticeable when it rains, making it easier to sneak around undetected. So quite literally, the weather truly affects how you play. Both Naoe and Yasuke can perform posture attacks to break through enemy armor, adding a lot of depth to combat. However, there is a key difference. Yasuke can charge his attacks at any point during a combo, giving him more flexibility, while Naoe can only charge her first attack. I can see this kind of creating that dynamic where Yasuke's aggressive playstyle offers more versatility. But enemies can still react and interrupt both characters' posture attacks, keeping you on your toes during combat. Yasuke stands out as the only protagonist who can carry heavy items around the world, which may play into environmental puzzles. And last but not least, let's talk a little bit about the environment and engine side of the game, because the environmental simulation is pretty impressive. Rain and snow are now fully simulated across the entire map, no longer limited to specific regions like in Odyssey and Valhalla. The weather impacts gameplay as well as visual fidelity, especially with the updated Anvil engine, making environments break more realistically and wind effects looking more lifelike as they sweep through trees and grass. These little touches are what I like to see, and I can definitely tell that this is a next generation type of Assassin's Creed game, and I'm all for it. And that brings us to the end of today's video. Episode 2 of the developer series for Shadows does seem quite promising, or at least it does to me. And who knows what we'll expect for episode 3, if it's ever going to come out. The release date is still February, so we're quite a while away, but I'm still pretty hyped. If you did enjoy this video, be sure to hit that subscribe button. As always, shout out to the members of my Patreon. If you did enjoy this video, be sure to hit that subscribe button. And with that said, I'll see you in the next one.